guys, it's Chloe, and today I am here with a brand new video. Today I'm here with the New York Times Buy the Book tag, and this was created by Marie Berg, and I will link the original video down below, and I was tagged by Kathleen from For the Love of Books, whose channel I will also link down below. There are 10 questions, so let's go ahead and get started. What book is on your nightstand right now? So there are currently 3 books on my nightstand. I'm reading all 3 of these books right now, and it's kind of ridiculous. The first one is On the Fence by Casey West, which is my current read for Readorama. The next is Defined by Others by MCV Egan, and this was the book I was reading before Readorama started, and I just put it on hold for the week of Readorama. But this is the book I'm currently reviewing. And then the other book that's on my nightstand is 50 Shades Darker by E.L. James, and I started reading like 1 chapter a night, but I actually haven't done that in like 2 weeks. But I'm like a quarter of the way through. All 3 of these books I'm like a quarter of the way through. What was the last truly great book you read? Now, I have read a ton of books so far this year, probably close to 30. All of them I have a ton of mixed feelings on, and there have been some 5 stars, there have been some 3 stars, a lot of different ones since 2017 started, 2.5 months ago. But the last truly great book I read, I think, is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which I read this for the 2016 Young Adult BookTube Awards, and I did a book talk for this as well, and I'll link that down below. But I think this was like, it was really, really good, and I was hesitant going in because a lot of mixed things going on with Colleen Hoover, but it was such a good book. If you could meet any author, dead or alive, who would you want to meet and what would you want to know? I think, and this, of course this is going to be my answer, I'd want to meet J.K. Rowling, but I don't know what I would want to know because she's released a lot of information for the Harry Potter world, so I don't know what I would want to know. Is it truly over? And I feel like the answer would be no, because I mean, she's constantly releasing new things. Like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child came out last year. We had the Fantastic Beasts screenplay, book, and movie that came out last year. There's so many different things that are happening, so I don't know. I'd have to think about like what I would want to know. What books might we be surprised to find on your shelves? I'm not sure. I feel like my shelves consist of a lot of like older books that aren't really popular in BookTube. Like I have some popular books on my shelves, but there's some older ones like Fablehaven by Brandon Mull. Also, and I feel like this isn't really surprising if you've been on this channel recently and you know the direction that I'm taking it in, but I also have a shelf full of indie books at the bottom, a lot of which are for review and a lot that I bought at an event that I went to in November. But it's not really surprising. If you know me, that's not really surprising. I just have a ton of indie books. How do you organize your personal library? It honestly just depends. A lot of my books are organized by genre. All of the top shelves of my bookcases are contemporary books. I have 2 shelves dedicated to Harry Potter related things, or just J.K. Rowling related in general. I have an entire shelf dedicated to indie books. It all just depends on the genre. I have an entire shelf that you can see behind me that is just Mortal Instruments books and Infernal Devices. Just Cassandra Clare right here, and then I have another Cassandra Clare right here because I ran out of room. But for the most part, it's genre. Like Cassandra Clare would be urban fantasy. This shelf here, which you can't see, but it's Throne of Glass and Shadow and Bone and Ruby Red, but that's fantasy. This one that's normally behind me is retellings. It's still Lunar Chronicles and some Alethea Contest books. This is dystopian. This is also fantasy. It just, a lot of it's genre, but other things are just like what I think looks good together. What book have you always meant to read but haven't gotten around to yet? And are there any books you should be embarrassed that you haven't read yet? There's a lot. I'm just gonna name a couple that are off the top of my head. I have not finished the Vampire Academy series yet. I stopped at book number 5 back in like 2014 or 2015. So I think it was 2014. So it's been a while. I've only read the first book in the Ugly series. I haven't read the other 2 or 3 books that are in the series. As a Harry Potter fan, this is surprising. I have not read the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them screenplay yet. It's actually currently wrapped up in wrapping paper and it's one of my like TBR challenges books. So when I unwrap it this year is when I'll read it. Disappointing, overrated, or just not good. What book did you feel you were supposed to like but didn't, and what was the last book you did not finish? I feel like I should have liked Ever the Hunted a lot more than I did by Erin Summerall. This was the January book of the month for Once Upon a Read Along, and I think I gave this book like a 2 or a 2.5 stars, and I really wanted to like it, and I didn't really like it. I'll probably still finish the series, but I just didn't enjoy it at all. I cannot remember the last book that I didn't finish. I put a lot of books down and then just come back to them at later dates. Like Champion by Marie Lu is one of those. But I know there's one book, I think it's a trilogy, that I really did not like, but I had to read the first and the second book because the second book was a book of the month for Once Upon a Read Along. I think it was last year, and that was The Sin Eater's Daughter and The Sleeping Prince. I could not stand those books, and I just had to like read them on like 2 times speed for Audible or audiobooks, and it was not fun. But I had to read them because of Once Upon a Read Along, but I really hated those. I did finish them, I just really hated them. What kind of stories are you drawn to, or are there any that you stay clear of? I'm a really big mood reader, and I also read by the season. So if it's spring or summer, I'm really into contemporary, and if it's winter, I'm really into fantasy. So I just kind of read by the season, or just what I feel like reading. For example, last month I read a ton of different genres. I read some historical fiction, some fantasy, and some contemporary, and it was just a lot of different things all at once. Some things I try to stay clear of. Mystery, I'm not really into the mystery or thriller. I'm also not a big fan of historical fiction. I'll read it occasionally, but I'm not a big fan of it. Like the last historical fiction book I read was in February. It was Salt to the Sea by Rita Sepetys, so I could go to her signing. But other than that, I just have to be in the mood to read it. If you could require the president to read one book, what would it be and why? I try and steer clear of politics on this channel. And in our society today, there's a lot of different issues being talked about, and I'm not going to say this book because it's my favorite series, but I'm going to say Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and actually more towards the end of the Lunar Chronicles, like Winter, Crescent Winter especially. And I was actually having this conversation with Elizabeth from the Hour the other day of, it discusses deep topics. This series is filled with diverse characters. It's set in futuristic Beijing. You have characters of color and of different ethnicities and not just white. And honestly, a perfect portrayal of almost modern day racism, because the way that androids or cyborgs are seen to humans, it's an example of how they are not accepted in society, and it's a perfect example of something that's very concerning today, which is diversity. So probably the Lunar Chronicles for sure. I know that's 4 books, but it's the entire series that represents it, not just one book. And finally, what do you plan to read next? Well, once I get through Read-A-Rama and the book that I am reviewing currently, I plan on picking up Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between by Jennifer E. Smith. And I'm buddy reading this with Alyssa from Pucks and Paperbacks, who I will link in the description below, because I think this is one of the only Jennifer E. Smith books that I have not read besides her new release coming out, which is Windfall. And I'm excited because Alyssa and I both love contemporary, and I'm really excited. Fun fact, actually, if you ever notice this stack of books right here in the background, these are actually all the books that I plan to read next, and I always change them around what order that I plan to read them. So, Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between is on there, and my March Unwrapped book is on there, and a lot of just books that I'm planning on reading very soon. So guys, that is all I have for this video today. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like behind the scenes look at my life, you can check out my second channel, Chloe Essence. You name it, I probably do it on that channel. And if you'd like to see here, please go ahead and click subscribe. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, so click subscribe so you can be updated for when I post those. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!